let's try and talk about a topic then. The CBT. The CBT is a mess. Absolute mess. Had I have known the absolute hell that I would have to go through to get to this, I would not have done it at all. I ride this every day, twice a day, in the dark, in the rain. I ride this everywhere. So, coming into it, it was intimidating, the whole process. It's a lot. Now, for some people, sure, it will be easy. If you drive a car, it's as simple as you're doing your car test on 2 wheels. That's fine. But for me, again, not an easy choice. It was... The hardest part was definitely the mod 2 for me. It says the mod 1 is the hardest part, but this is where I say it goes from person to person. I CBT in 2021. I bought myself a brand new KTM Duke off of the showroom floor, and this is before I even attempted or even thought about doing a CBT. Now, I was fortunate enough that I had a good stretch of land that I could practice on. Well, I say land, I practiced in a field. But loads of people don't have that. Made a wrong turn. No, never mind, this is nice. We'll do this. We can still do those slow speed manoeuvres. Pushing it, but we got it. We won't stay here for long. I'm pretty sure they don't like people here. Yeah, so anyway, I did my CBT in 2021. We bought a brand new KTM Duke off the showroom floor, and we took it back to the land I was practicing on. And with this is where I believe you should always practice first. I pulled away, and the first time I pulled away, I dropped it. Brand new bike. And the reason I dropped it was because I grabbed the front brake and we were on shingle. So, suddenly, the wheel dropped out, slid underneath me, and I went down. I got straight back on the bike. I did not let it deter me at all. Now, when I went for my CBT, it was 3 of us. I was the only geared person there was 4 of us. I was the only geared person using the bike. I was the only one using a geared bike on the test. The rest were using scooters. In hindsight, I wish I'd gone for a scooter, because you still get the full license regardless. So we were doing the exercises all day, and he was just treating it like we were all on scooters. I was there, revving the nuts off of it, stalling it like crazy. I wasn't getting any direction at all. Now, obviously the other people needed more attention, because 2 of them crashed in this court on the emergency stop. I can understand him wanting to spend more time with them, but I still came off that course not understanding how to change the gear. How I got through that road ride, I don't know. And when I got home, I was pumped, I was excited, I was like, I am... Then it came to actually going out on the bike, and I borderline had a panic attack. I was in tears, I was just shaking, because I just couldn't fathom going out on my own without someone telling me what to do, because I didn't understand it. Which, I don't know if it's exclusive to me, maybe it is. I feel like loads of people do their CBTs and then they just go, nah, we'll go out, fuck it. But I was a nervous wreck. So the biggest mistake I made was buying a KTM, in my opinion. The KTMs are fucking bikes. The high-end models, like the Super Duke, 890 Duke, and all those ones, can't fault them. They are nice bikes. They run well. Yes, they kind of have those reliability issues, but you can't go wrong. You will enjoy it thoroughly. But the lower spec models, like the 125s, are a piece of shit. When I first had it, the bike ran smooth. Was the perfect bike to learn on. But once it went in for its first service, I noticed a few problems. So yeah, I noticed a few problems. The gearbox was sticking, I was hitting neutral a lot more than I was before the service. Now, like I said, this could be anything. The rider, most likely me. But other people rode my bike and they said, it doesn't feel right. Just doesn't feel nice to ride. And so one day I rode the bike and I was going not even 10 miles an hour. It was literally on my home estate. I'd barely left the house. The rear wheel locked up on a turn and I went down. I wasn't wearing the appropriate gear because I didn't have it at the time. I was wearing ripped jeans like a moron, and even at 5 miles an hour, I did some damage to myself. The bike was fine. It had some fairing damage. I took the brunt of the impact because the bike landed on me. I'll probably save the KTM story for another day because it is a long one, but for the basis of the KTM went in, it went to hell, I sold it soon after. Oh, I'm stuck. Oh, fuck's sake. So yeah, not long after doing the Mod 1, me and my dad booked the Mod 1 together for his birthday. He'd never ridden bikes, I'd never ridden bikes, but it was something we wanted to do together. We opted to do our Mod 1 and Mod 2 together. Now in hindsight, it seemed like a good idea, but we weren't accounting for the fact that one of us might fail. And one of us did. On the Mod 1, we did our training, we went there on the day. I think it's supposed to be you do 1 or 2 days, 1 or 2 days of Mod 1 training, then another 2 days of Mod 2 training. We did 15 minutes of Mod 1 training. So we did all the exercises, and surprisingly, we both did them all first try. Blitzed them. And he was really impressed. And we went straight out onto the road ride. But the road ride I'll get on to in a second, because that was where it went really downhill. We got to the test centre on the day, and I was first. And we were confident, none of us were nervous at all. It gets to the exercises, and I'm on it was the chicane first, so you went through your chicane, and then it was the figure of 8. On the figure of 8, I went too close to the inner cone and put my foot down. I looked straight at the examiner, nodded my head, and he went, do it again. He said, do it again. So I did it again. Unknown to me, he was giving me a second chance, but I thought he was just being nice and letting me finish the course because my dad was second. Saw me come back too early, would have known I'd failed. He was actually giving me a second chance, but at the time I was so flustered that I just put my foot down that I forgot to do any of my checks. That was where I failed. So my test ends, I come round the corner and my dad is ecstatic. He's like, well done, you've passed, you finished it. Great. I'm holding back tears at this because he was just so happy, and it was his birthday. We had it booked for his birthday. So I kind of smiled, I didn't say anything, I said good luck, And as soon as he went round the corner, I was just bits, because I knew what was about to happen. So he did his mod 1, he passed completely fine. Came round the corner, and he had an even bigger smile on his face. We've done it. We're on to the next bit. And I had to look at him and go, no, I failed. And he thought I was joking. But as soon as he looked at me, I lost it. I couldn't keep it together. And once he realised I was serious, believe me, you've never seen two grown men cry quite like that. It was quite horrible, because obviously my training was now done. And he had to continue without me. Oh man, I've got to get out of it now. So yeah, on to the mod 2 for him. I stayed home for the day. I was sat on the sofa all day, just... I don't even remember what I was doing, but it wasn't the nicest experience. And he did his mod 2. It took all day, because he didn't have his test till 3 o'clock, which was a pain in the ass. And I got the call to say he passed. So he was now onto his big bike. And I was still on the little... But what I missed out at this point was I'd already bought my big bike. I'd bought a Moto Guzzi V7 Stone. And I'd practiced on that because I'd never experienced a big bike beforehand. And that bike then sat in the lockup for another 6 months it took me to pass. I did another test in... Did I do another? No, I never did a mod 2 with them. I didn't go back to them, because what happened next was the worst part of the whole experience. I was booked in for my retry on my mod, and it was for, again, 3 o'clock. Now, this test centre was very far away from me, and obviously I couldn't drive, so I was getting a lift up, and we were waiting. So we'd been waiting all day, and we finally got to the test centre, signed all the paperwork, said I'm ready, and the examiner looked over and went, "You're doing a big bike, aren't you?" I said, yeah, I'm doing the unrestricted one. He went, that's an A2 license bike out there he's brought. I said, what? He's gone, yeah, I think he's brought the wrong bike, son. And yeah, at that point it didn't feel like anything else could possibly go wrong for me. Well, it did. The instructor brought the wrong bike, and his attitude to the whole thing was, it's not my fault. It's, don't blame me. He was an asshole about it, to be honest. And I'm broken. I'm absolutely broken. I've been panicking about this. I didn't sleep days before this test, because, some people panic, and I'm one of them. So I couldn't really even say anything to him. I was just pure full of anger. I left the test centre. I just didn't want to talk to him, didn't want to deal with it. I was done with this whole motorcycle thing. I was ready to call it quits. And the place who did the training called us up and said, we'll sort it out. The next training session is on us. And I don't think I ever went back. No. So I did go back, and the examiner actually recognised me, and he remembered the whole situation. He sat down with me, we had a conversation, he settled my nerves. He was a really nice guy. He said, "You're the one that put your foot down on the figure of 8. He said, you absolutely blitzed the rest. Let's just get through this." And about halfway through my test, we're just talking about, what bikes we're going to buy when we're done and what he's going to have for the summer. It was a really nice experience. So I passed that, away, really happy, confidence again. We're banging. It was great. And I decided not to go back to that school for the Mod 2 training. I just didn't want anything more to do with that school. It was just such an unorganised experience from start to finish, and I wanted nothing to do with it. But what did we do next? It went to Farnham. Now, we'll live in Southampton. So I went to Farnham. And that was a 2-hour journey. Had to wake up at I think I woke up at 10 to 6. Now, I work night shifts, so I am not used to waking up early. I'm used to coming home late, waking up late. So it just completely fucked with my clock. But yeah, we decided to go to Farnham for the Mod 2 training. Now, I'm going to preface before we do any of this. When I did my Mod 2 training, I wasn't at the standard you needed to be at, even close. In the bike, I was fine, but I wasn't doing any of my checks, my mirrors, my shoulders, mainly because I didn't know about them. Now, yeah, I should have done my research, should have studied and all that stuff, but I didn't. It was a means of transport for me, and it's my fault entirely. That one is entirely my fault. But through the Mod 2, I was basically having to unlearn all the bad habits I built up and replace them with all these good ones. It took a while. It did take a while. Now, when it came to the one where I passed, at this point, I had no ambition to do it. I wasn't actively looking for a test. I didn't even want to think about doing a test. I had enough again. I just burnt myself out emotionally. I couldn't keep doing it and failing because it was just disheartening to come home every day and look at that bike and not be allowed to ride it and have to sit back on this little orange beast. Man, I really don't want to go down this road. Hopefully I can find somewhere to turn around. I don't know why I came this way. Now, of all of the bikes I've ridden, which I've tested quite a few now, especially I got to ride quite a few when I was doing my test. Let's list off the bikes that I've gone through. On my first test, we did it on a Suzuki GSX S800, and that bike was, if I didn't get this, I probably would have got that next to the Z900, because that bike was heavy, it was confidence inspiring, it was a flickable machine, even if you grab the throttle, you wouldn't go too far. It was just a great bike. The second bike I rode, I don't 100% remember it. It wasn't a known name brand. It was something, I think it was called a Fantic. And nice bike. It wasn't anything special. It was kind of like a nice middle ground. It was okay. And the one I rode that I passed my test on was my least favourite bike I've ever ridden. Honda CBR 650. Hondas are renowned for being smooth and just easy to ride. My Honda was not. It was the snatchiest, grabbiest machine I have ever ridden. It was just, it was so jerky, and even after riding it for 5 hours, I couldn't get the hang of riding that bike. But ultimately, I passed my test on it. And I know plenty of people that love the Honda CBR. I have a friend that wants the Honda CBR. The Honda CBRs are really nice looking bikes. But I couldn't get along with it. It was just so snatchy. But thankfully, I'll never have to ride one again, because I do not intend to ever get rid of this unless a newer one comes up that I can get my hands on. But at the moment, this bike has made me smile in every way possible. I do not intend to get rid of it. I feel like I've really just spoken absolute waffle. Like, I've gone from subject to subject. I was supposed to nail in on this Mod 1, Mod 2 business. I ended up just talking about the street. I could easily separate this into two things, because I've just spoken absolute crap. Ultimately, to wrap it up, if you're going for your license, do it. 100% do it. Just understand what you're going to have to do. It's not an easy task, and ultimately, if you're thinking about getting the street triple, now you know, because I've just spoken about it the whole time. Thank you. Bye.